I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the At Random podcast. I am ripping off Andy's intro to piss off Ali. I am your host, Alex, today, and joining me is
Wait, you don't like when I say hello, ladies and gentlemen? You don't like that?
Have you not seen my face every time you do that?
Yeah, but it's exciting. It's like you need to start high, right? You need to be like happy and that's my way of being happy. When we meet for the first time in real life this December, me in your... so when we meet...
Hey, this is for the right price.
Yeah, for the people listening in,
Merry Christmas.
We're planning on meeting this December for the first time in real life. That is exactly how I'm gonna say hello to you. I'm gonna give you a big old hug. I'm gonna come right up your ear, and I'm gonna be like, Ali, hello, Ali. Welcome to Belgium.
You're expecting a knee up your crotch, in other words.
Yeah, that's why I do it, by the way. I like a little bit of BDSM. Who's that on the other side of the microphone, Alex?
Yeah, well, that was Andy, by the way, into BDSM, and Batman, who I think is also into BDSM. How you doing? It's Ali, my wife, sitting across from me.
Good. All good.
She's all good, except for the intro. Did not like that, apparently.
No.
But, I mean, it was worth a shot to see her reaction. I liked it.
Why do you not understand that you now set that intro? Like, you realize by being opposed to it that is gonna be how I open every episode I lead.
You have hope in humanity that maybe somewhere you can realize by my face that I don't like it.
All right.
And that you would be a kind soul and stop, but...
All right, look, I'm gonna make you
up my hopes on you.
I'm gonna make you a promise, Ali.
Don't. I have a husband already. Like, promises don't exist, okay? You don't.
I'm gonna try and find something new.
Okay.
And on that note, I guess I'll introduce what the hell we're talking about today. So, it's linked to a previous episode that did like super well, which is actually why I decided to do this. We're gonna talk about AI in medicine because I want to get your opinions on some things.
Oh, God, AI again. I mean...
Says the guy that did 3 episodes on bloody aliens.
Yeah, at least this is real.
I'm glad you picked up on the sarcasm.
I'm just saying, the AI episode fucking went nuts. It's like already one of our most downloaded things. It was like 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, thank you, India.
Yeah, they're about to overtake the US as our most popular like location in like the space of 3 weeks. Job. So India is going like balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Stay safe though, like don't go outside because COVID in India right now is like fucked.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, stay safe, guys.
It's real bad.
We need those ratings.
Yeah, so damn. You're just a number according to Andy.
Yes,
not
you
according
are.
to me.
All right. Well, fuck it.
Okay, so like the theme here, we're just gonna like very, very briefly talk about some things because there was like some interesting stuff that I just thought of when I was reading about it that I want to ask you guys. Like, what would you feel? Because I think last time we more spoke about like androids, you know, like as if they like made a human being that was a robot AI thing.
Yeah.
Because it's weird though. But when you talk AI, my mind immediately goes to naked butler doing whatever I tell him to.
Yeah.
Or her.
Exactly.
Depending on my mood that day.
So obviously the primary point of using like AI in healthcare is to like, what they're trying to do is like analyze relationships between like treatment techniques and like the outcome for a patient. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to use AI to better predict like treatment plans and like the effectiveness for certain, based on all this bullshit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's designed for things like diagnosing, like the process of diagnosing, like what steps are most effective for a doctor to work through in identifying an illness. Obviously drug development patient monitoring, like, using, like Fitbits and shit like that.
Yeah.
That people wear, those watches, like they're trying to make more advanced ones. Like, say if they know that you have heart problems and you can wear that, and the AI can monitor and actually ping your doctor if like it notices you go out of certain parameters. So that's like some tech that's, I think it's kind of out there, but like they're still developing, and obviously it's quite early on.
Don't wear anything like that when you're jacking off, or your doctor might know.
Yeah, especially if you do it regularly to know your wank off schedule.
Oh, it's 8:30.
Let's do it.
Swanking time.
And for like personalized medicine, which is more because normally like a doctor, especially in the US, they're kind of like paid off by brands, like pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
The hope with sort of AI is they get away from that and actually pick the most effective drug based on your person, which you would hope your doctor would do, but it's kind of not just in the US, but all over the world. The pharmaceutical companies buy clinics and so the whole idea, the hope is that they can use AI to like recommend the right drug, not just the drug that like your doctor did a deal with to give you.
Yeah. Did you have a look into surgery AI as well?
It popped up, and then I was like briefly,
dude,
I looked into it, but it was like insane. I didn't understand anything they're talking about.
Absolutely amazing. There's actually there's now these days we have actual robots that can perform surgery on you by the handling of a surgeon on the other side of the world, which to me is fucking mind blowing. Like, you can.
Have you seen how those machines look? They're cool as fuck.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's like fucking Iron Man, like the robotic arms and shit like that. And it's so fucking precise. They cut off the skin of grapes with this machine by a doctor. Like they did it in America or something like that. By a doctor that did it in Luxembourg or something like that. Like it's fucking, good thing we're not using telephone internet anymore, because like mom picks up
just
the
lagging. Well, good thing Australia probably isn't doing any of these surgeries because their internet is garbage. They'll lag out and cut off your head or something. It's like, oh, whoops. So of course, actually, remote surgeries also using AI. I guess maybe I think that was one of the applications, was in like latency compensation. Yeah. So like the machine had AI on it, and it would take the input from the doctor, but if it noticed like latency, it would make a decision to like stop moving the blade or to like align it, a millimeter that way or that way to fix it. And it's incredible.
Yeah.
So you probably might not know this, but like some medical institutions already have like developed and deployed AI algorithms in their treatment of people.
How?
We're going to get there very quickly, but there's 3 places, like known places that a lot of people should know. So the Mayo Clinic in California, I think it is, or something, that they have developed and deployed AI algorithms. The Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, which I think is one of the world's biggest cancer research places in New York City, and the British National Health Service, the NHS, they use Google's AI called DeepMind. They use it for sharing patient data more quickly, because it saved 500,000 man hours a year on like paperwork.
These robots are coming in and they took her turn.
We're getting there later.
But isn't that like easy to manipulate in a sense? Like, isn't that very like delicate information?
Yeah, well, that's kind of why I like found this topic really interesting, because it is like, would you want like, especially a company like Google, to have like your medical record? Technically, I don't think legally they can look into it, but these companies, they don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Like, what would your thoughts be on like Google's AI being able to send and like fill in your paperwork for you and shit like that?
Can we just stop giving a fuck and give in already?
Yeah, I've kind of done that.
They have all the data anyway. It's weird to say at this point, but like at the end of the day, aren't they just gonna do whatever they want to do?
I think so.
And I know it's that exact strain of thought that will give them the freedom to do it. But the way I see it is the governments are conniving and like they're so fucking slimy that way that one way or another they'll end up having what they want anyway.
Yeah, and even when they break the law, they slap them on the wrist.
What if everybody just gave in? They have their shit. It all goes to shit, which it probably will. And then we're done with it quicker.
Yeah.
Like, start the zombie apocalypse immediately, so we don't have to wait for it anymore.
Yeah, or just have open medical records.
Yeah.
Anyone on the internet can just look you up and be like, oh, he has like heart disease.
Fine. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, fuck that guy.
That'd be weird.
Moving on, something that was like pretty cool is, you guys have heard of IBM?
A little bit. I don't know what it is, but I know the name.
They basically like invented personal computers back in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
But then they kind of like died off because of bad business decisions. But like they're still a huge company. They're like worth a few $100 billion or whatever. But they have a program called Watson Health, which what it does is if you have like a rare disease that doctor after doctor can't work out what the fuck's wrong with you.
Yeah.
This thing is like an algorithm that scours like, in an instant through like thousands of research papers, and then using the things in the person's file can predict what weird ass fucking disease you have, and then refer you on to like the correct specialist or the correct treatment plans.
Where can you find this? Because I kind of need it.
Well, this is like hospitals and shit that pay for this and like are using and like integrating these sorts of things. So like that was a pretty cool thing, like just being able to like instantly, because like a doctor researching that much would take forever, and this AI can do it in like, whatever, a couple hours.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so they just basically use a giant database with their AI thing. They plug in your specific symptoms, and it's like, oh, maybe you have this disease, and then the doctor's going like, oh, yeah, that kind of makes sense, or maybe it's completely wrong, and they try again. So it is actually like already being used. And then this is where it gets like, I want to get your guys' opinion on something. So in 2017, a Japanese life insurance company used this technology from IBM to analyze and like work out compensation payments for health insurance like quicker. But it resulted in 34 jobs lost, but it was 30% more efficient and led to like faster payouts and saved the company $1.4 million a year. So is it a good thing or a bad thing? Like people are getting their money quicker and it's more efficient, but 34 people lost their jobs.
Depends on whose perspective you're looking.
Well, I'm asking your perspective.
No, but in the sense who it profits, like, because obviously the people that lost their jobs, they're not happy about it, but the people that own the company were like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Couldn't they like
I think it's
broke
wrong.
the guys, like the 34 people's legs and arms, so they are in the payroll of the computer that took their jobs?
They just like rig the numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go in there and just fuck up the data before on your last day at work and just make it, they're paying out everyone. Just like, yeah, you get life insurance. You get life insurance.
All. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the Oprah of AI.
Yeah.
It's giving everyone money.
I don't know if it's a bad thing. Look, it's first of all, it's China, right?
Japan, this one.
Japan. Ah.
Yep.
That makes it a little. There goes that point. Because like immediately when I thought like China, my mind like went to population control and like their point system for people. Did you know that in some places they actually have a point system? Like you're on Camla, there's a little square that pops up and says like, oh, that guy doesn't behave, like he came into contact with police and shit like that. And so he's in the red. He doesn't have any points. So he basically can't use public transport anymore. And like he's been denied anything government-y because until he behaves better. So like immediately I thought like, well, it sounds like China, all right. But if it's in Japan, I don't know. They're pretty strict with everything. I'd imagine the 34 people that lost their jobs would be treated sort of fairly in Japan.
Yeah, I'm sure they got paid out some.
Yeah,
but still,
and plus have the time to find a new job and shit like that. Yep. But I think those 34 people should look at it as being the first people that lost their jobs to AI, because I do believe that there's a shit more people that are gonna lose their jobs.
Oh, definitely.
Well, yeah, especially like a lot of manual work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like sort of your industry, for example. Down the line, that is.
They can replace me with a scanner to find uneven bits in stones.
But that's why it's scary, because what are people supposed to work with then?
Well, here's the thing though. That this is what you're never gonna replace a robot or a person with a robot, because like even in my job,
but they
it's
did.
as simple as picking
Those
up stones.
33 people lost their jobs. So
Yeah,
people
I
are
know,
being
I know,
replaced by
but
AI.
But that's that one job.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, unless a robot makes the stones to complete, there's so many factors butted into making a single fucking stone. Like a little detail on the machine that has to be closed by hand or something like that, or otherwise they're a little too high and shit like that. Like there's so many factors that need to be regulated with any job out there, any manual labor, that I don't think it'll ever be fully replaced and it'll come out better or the same.
Yeah, I think there's also a counterpoint too, that like it will just make people get better. Like these people are basically, from what I can gather, they're just life insurance like salespeople.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, okay, now they're going to upskill into another place where they're not going to be replaced.
Exactly. Like, I think the jobs of paperwork people are more in danger than the manual labor ones.
Yeah,
because making a program is easier than making a robot that, you know, that works with a certain program, because you got to have program written. The robot's got to do what it's got to do. It can't fail because blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it has to be able to move like a computer algorithm that files paperwork just runs on a computer. It's software.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if you have to make a manual thing, you have to make an actual robot that can break down, can be damaged.
So, you know,
more expensive.
At the end of the day, if you ask me, like, I think that 34 people are somewhat expendable. I mean...
Yeah. I also think they worked for an insurance company, so fuck them. Like, when did they ever help anybody other than their own bottom line?
True, I guess.
All right. Well, let's move on from there. So, split views. Let's say Ali thinks more from the people point of view.
Yeah.
Andy and I look more maybe on the futurist point of view or something.
I want robots.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, hospitals, similar to this, like hospitals now are looking to like increase their cost saving and improve patient satisfaction, and actually like working out staffing requirements better by using AI. Of course, cost saving is the number one priority.
I do not believe that one bit.
I think the cost saving.
Yes. Hospitals are fucking factories, dude. That's all they are. It's meat factories. I worked in one. I know.
What'd you do in a hospital?
Banged a cadaver.
No. That was Saturday and nobody knew about that. Now, I actually was a security guard in a hospital. I worked security detail because I'm a big, strong boy, and that's what I do.
Yeah. How many like Karens did you have to throw out?
There was a guy that brought a knife into the maternity ward.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude, I can tell you stories. I've seen guts out of people's bodies. Like, psych ward is in a hospital as well.
Oh yeah, that's
true.
true.
People there, like
That's true.
I don't know how much I can legally say, but like I can definitely see when somebody has a psychotic breakdown, they have a psychotic fucking breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the knives out of the room. Yeah, even if it's just for lunch. That's fucking not good. But yeah, I worked in a hospital, and I know for a fucking fact, I've seen people under narcosis, like completely asleep, being chucked on tables from a distance. Like, seriously.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no. When you are on an operating table for a well-respected surgeon, you are nothing more than a slab of meat. Respect whatever they tell you they respect about, they don't.
It doesn't surprise me. That's why you have bruises everywhere.
For the guys with little dicks, just so you know, the nurses do look at it and they laugh at it small.
Of course.
I know that too for a fact.
Because they called you in like, hey, look at this fucker.
They called on me once for a huge fucking cock.
Oh my God.
Damn, nice.
Remind me not to get surgery done in Belgium.
I'm sure it happens everywhere.
It's everywhere. I swear to God, it's everywhere.
Don't remind me. A year ago, I lied with my fucking legs spread open on an operating table.
All right, and on that note, let's bring it back.
Somebody shoved a finger up there, I'm sure.
Okay, so quick question for you both. Just have a guess. When do you think like AI research first started for medicine? Like what decade?
This 2000, year 2000, something like that.
2000s?
I would say the 80s.
Batman says 80s. The 60s and 70s.
What?
70s.
Started in the 60s and 70s. Yeah.
I wanted to say 70s at first, but I was like, yeah, okay, let's go 80s.
Yeah, researchers in the 60s and 70s produced some like problem-solving AI, like the first one ever, called Dendril, which was used for like organic chemistry to find like unknown organic compounds on Earth that we hadn't found yet.
Yeah.
And then from that, they made, in the early 1970s in Stanford University, they made a thing called mycin, which was the first thing AI ever used to identify bacteria that was causing infections and then recommend antibiotics to take to fight the infection.
We didn't have computers back then?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they were just the
we did.
size of a building.
You didn't have computers back then.
Not true.
The government and shit had.
The government, the universities, and like maybe one hospital in your country had a computer. So yeah, they in the 70s they made a bacteria identifying AI like way back then that like detected like infections and then recommended antibiotics. Like so stuff like meningitis. It was like,
I'm
you
so
need
happy
this
we
antibiotic.
developed that.
Well, it's funny you say that because they developed it and then no one ever
Fuck it.
fucking used it.
Yeah, they should
never
have.
had a customer.
Probably. Maybe we wouldn't have been here.
Yeah, they never had a customer that actually used it because obviously back then, like, no one had a computer. Like, regular hospitals didn't have computers. So
Yeah,
it
but
was too
they have
difficult.
one now. What's the
Did you
reason
say
they
about-
don't use it now?
Oh, they have them now, but
What'd you say? Was it meningitis? To treat
Yeah.
meningitis?
it's stuff like to detect things like meningitis or bacterium.
They should have done that
No, it
to me
was-
before
it
they
was
shoved
to
a
det-
massive needle on my back.
No, it was to
Jesus.
research men with vaginas. You need to listen, Ali.
Yes, exactly. That is actually correct.
I had meningitis, okay?
I've had men with vaginas.
All right. So, yeah, like I said, this was never used, even though it was a state-of-the-art technology at the time, basically because there was like, how could they integrate it in a hospital? They didn't have the internet, and it required a connection to like this. There was like a very primitive version of the internet for researchers, but
Okay.
like the cost was just like so astronomical. And this dude worked on this for 6 years at his thesis at Stanford University, developed it,
Jesus.
it worked and everything, and no one ever used it. But it's seen as like that paved the way. Like once that started, it went to non-medical applications,
Yeah.
and they like just changed what it was for, and then it.
Well, it's got
spawned
to
all these other
start
things.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Imagine 6 years of work, and then they're just like, nah, fuck it, can't be bothered. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
So during the 80s and 90s, that's when obviously computers started to be more normal, and we got the internet to like average Joes. So then that's when they really recognize AI in healthcare as like should be used to accommodate and help like physicians, because obviously people make mistakes. So the aim is to sort of have the AI work with a doctor to give someone the best treatment possible.
Yeah.
So like current research fields is they're now training like AI that can read your like x-rays and stuff and like CT scans. And because it's way more, it can notice much smaller changes than a human would probably see. So like they can notice minute changes. And they did a study in, especially Stanford University did an algorithm that detected pneumonia with better accuracy than the radiologists that were in the trial.
Cool.
Like just by looking at the image, the computer was
That's
like,
pretty
oh,
sweet.
yeah.
Can you get a faster answer as well? That's the
I'm
worst.
pretty sure they probably just
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Where you go for an
man.
MRI, you have to wait 2 weeks. It's like,
Yeah, I
yes, you do have a stone in your kidney. I was like, no joke.
It's like, I know I'm pissing it out. At that point, you probably sounds like a drunk Scotsman, just fucking yelling at people. I went to the ER with my kid because she fell off the couch and like bumped her head on the table and then on the floor.
yep.
Which like was full blown fucking Andy panic, you know. We need to get to the hospital and fast. You know, fucking throw my other kids in the car without keeping in mind they have heads too.
Well, you're going to
Because
the same place now.
Well, yeah, you know, wasn't that important anymore.
Family trip.
But she was bleeding a little on the back of the head. like, I'm used to kids falling. Like, it's a day-to-day fucking thing in my house. But, like, she's the youngest one. She's not 1 year old, so of course I was immediately like, brain damage. She's gonna be a Jeffrey Dahmer type. Shit happens at a young age.
Yep.
So we went there. I was there for 3 hours, talked to 3 doctors, and they all said, "Oh, so tell me the story. What happened?" I'm like, "Well, it was in the kitchen. Came back out. Saw that she was trying to crawl on the couch, fell backward, hit her head on the table on the floor. All right, I'm going to discuss this with my coworkers." They left.
What is it to discuss?
An hour later, another guy comes in. "So tell me what happened."
They were testing.
Like, well, dude. So
No,
it
but
was
in that
crawling up the
instance-
fucking couch, fell backwards, hit her head on the fucking thing. No, they weren't testing me.
I thought they were testing for like child abuse.
This is what I like about AI. Is AI is gonna take the information, is gonna say there is a chance to a light fucking like a brain scramble. What's it called again? Like when
Brain
you
damage?
Yeah, when you're
A
when you're
concussion?
not able to take
concussion.
a concussion. Yeah. So there's a light chance on a concussion. Just check her out. That's what the computer would say. It took me 3 doctors in 3 hours of explaining my situation.
Did
and
they look at
explaining
your
what
kid
happened.
at some point?
What?
Did the first doctor look at your kid?
Oh, no, not at all.
They didn't do
asked
any
me what-
exam on your
no,
kid?
No. It was the 3rd doctor that actually, like, the only thing I went there for, because I knew she was pretty fine. It wasn't an open wound. It wasn't like, it wasn't serious. It wasn't that big of a fall anyway. But, like, the 3rd doctor that came in finally shined a light in her eye, and I could see her pupils dilate and, like, close up completely. So then I was like, okay, so the response times is good. And she was like, yeah, she's good to go. All right. Have a nice day.
Don't throw her on the table again.
3
but-
fucking hours.
Yeah.
That's when actually they were asking you to actually check out your story. And that's why, in a sense, I don't believe, because an AI can give you an answer if you have a problem or not. But for example, when it comes to people coming into the ER, you have so many people that are actually, they're either paranoid, like hypochondriacs and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
They're
you get
not
the
actually
AI. The
sick.
AI looks at them like, nah, fuck off.
Yes,
Leave.
but then you also have people that have symptoms, but they are like, they can be induced by addiction, and they're actually just looking for a fix. Like, so you have to go through the process of a person in different stories and different situations, so you don't change your story.
I think I can say with 98% accuracy that my kid was not looking for a fix.
I am not saying, but they probably like,
Starting him young.
Kidding. Yeah.
they probably suspected that something else might have happened, especially when they are in that age. Like, shaking baby syndrome is a big thing, and people lose their shit.
Yeah, but she had a little bump on the back of her head.
You can
It
shake
wouldn't
your
have been,
baby and
like-
hit it against the fucking table.
Even with my best accuracy and my best shot, I wouldn't have been able to make that perfect of a bump. She would have been fucking blue because of that.
Yeah. But it's a fair point. I hate fucking going. Whenever Ali gets injured and you wait there for 7 years for them to tell something you already knew.
Yeah.
It just takes forever. But okay,
Oh, it's
let's
so
go back.
bad. You're
Do you know
so
how-
poor little you.
Let's go back. Hey, Ali, just stop going to the
Yeah,
fucking
but-
hospital and I won't have to complain anymore.
Yeah, because
Okay.
like you just sit there and watch your shows, and I'm the one
Yeah,
that
I'm
actual
bored as
fucking
fuck.
pain.
You at least get drugs. I'm fucking just bored. All right, but so
Give him some drugs too, people.
yeah, so like a little while ago, I love that Andy, you said like to specialists a lot of the time that you're just a piece of meat, right?
Yeah.
Because some specialists in this radiology thing, like X-raying and stuff, see AI as a threat because it has the ability to have greater accuracy than them. Because obviously then they would lose their livelihood, right? Like you're no longer a specialist if the computer does a better job than you. So it goes to show that to some people in the medical industry, you are just nothing but money.
Yeah, big news.
Yeah. But it's just crazy. Like, most people say, I became a doctor because I care
Wanted
for
to
people.
save
But then I
life.
think after 5 years, they become jaded and they just want money.
Yeah.
Another field is like what they call screening. So like this was super cool. So they use it to evaluate, like if you have to have a facial surgery. Do you know what cleft lip or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
You know when you can have the.
Yeah.
They use AI now to predict how you're going to look after the surgery if they do it a specific way.
Oh.
And then they can age you and see how you're going to look at different ages so they can find the best like look
like surgical that will structure your face and not
so
deform
they
it.
use AI to like reconstruct your face digitally and then show you what you're going to look like, and so then they can work out like how to cut you and how to stitch it.
Yeah, well, because the thing with cleft lip is that the entire bone doesn't, like they don't join together in the skull. So obviously the entire
Wait, does a cleft lip run in the bone?
Yeah, it's
I just thought it was a skin thing.
That's the palate at the top of your mouth.
Yeah, the top of your the top of your mouth, the roof of your mouth, all of that is cut open. Like it's not joined together fused together when you're a kid.
When you're a fetus.
And that's why it's such a big surgery, because obviously they have to break the bones, reconstruct the bones, and then obviously do this.
That's not for me.
Yep, nope.
No, thank you.
Okay.
You can't get it now. You have to get it when you're a fetus, and you're quite far away from that, Andy. You're old.
Yeah, but still, I think I could get it.
All right, question time. Question time for you guys now.
All right.
What accuracy do you think humans can detect, on average, skin cancer? Like what percentage would you say a true doctor knows their shit?
With tests and trials, or just by looking?
I like doing their investigation and everything, and
and
they come to a conclusion.
I'd say 76. No, make that 69, because I like that number, and I like that position too.
All right,
I
Ali?
would say it's somewhere between 70 and 80.
86.6. So pretty good. But they've created an AI algorithm that has 95% accuracy. So, like, why would you want a human fucking doctor? It's almost 10% more accurate. Like, that's a big.
That would be a big
difference.
thing in Australia.
Yeah, skin cancer's our biggest killer.
Why would you want a doctor? I don't know, Alex. Maybe I just like being told that everything's fine and then dying 2 weeks later.
Rather than the AI is just maybe like, you're fucked, buddy.
Maybe that's my kink, and you shouldn't kink shame me, Alex.
Okay, I'm sorry.
God damn it.
This also applies in January 2020. Google researchers showed off with their DeepMind stuff that they can predict breast cancer more accurately than people. In July 2020, the University of Pittsburgh developed the highest accuracy ever in identifying prostate cancer using AI, which was with 98% accuracy.
Nah, I'd prefer somebody to touch my junk.
Put their finger right up there.
And then,
And in psychiatry, they're doing an experiment now where they're trained, chatbots, like, it pops up on a website, self. They're making chatbots now that imitate their patients to try and like reproduce anxiety and depression. Then they make another AI that talks to it in certain ways to see how it will react so that they can make treatment plans.
That's the best fucking thing ever. They imitate their patients.
Yeah, and then they use another chatbot that imitates them as a psychiatrist.
That is such a thing for hackers. That.
Yep.
It's like, how was your day today? Well, I don't know. I feel sort of anxious. I don't know. I feel sort of anxious. It's like the best fucking hacking thing ever.
Yep. Well, there is some ethical issues at the minute in the psychiatry field of if that is moral, but
of course everybody's gonna be like, I don't know, this like, I can't feel boobs anymore to check for breast cancer. Is it moral that a robot does it though? It's like, you're just protecting your field of work, buddy. Yep, stop. You've made your money, now fuck off.
Yep. And one other like really big field is predicting diabetes and cardiovascular disease, because they're both top 10 in the world for death rates. So that's like a really big focus with AI as well, like predicting and then treating people with...
What's number one?
I want to say like hunger. Like honestly, probably is. Like,
yeah, I know.
Being poor.
I've
like
almost died a couple of times from hunger.
Yeah.
Or at least felt like it.
We've all been there. And yeah, as mentioned before, they're making like wearable things for people with diseases now that tracks like all of their vital signs, and if anything goes remotely out of cue, it pings their doctor, who can then check up on them or get them to come in for a checkup, like much
But they're
quicker.
way further. You don't even have to look as far as a hospital and shit like that.
Yeah,
and
no,
doctors.
they just
like,
exist now.
This is implied. This is like implied in childcare as well. Like here in Belgium, you can buy mats, and you put the mat in the. This is like the transition period where they go from diapers to not peeing in the night.
Yep.
What you can do is you can lay a mat, and every time it pees, senses the dampness. It senses before the pee happens that the child is gonna pee, and automatically wakes you up with an alarm, which allows you to get out of bed and go to your kid and pick him up, go to the bathroom, and then back to bed. So they already have that. Also, I found out for the people that don't have children, there's such thing as back sleeping and belly sleeping. Now, they think that child death, the death that nobody knows really a lot why it happens.
Yeah, is it sudden infant death syndrome or something? Yeah.
It's crib. We call it crib dying. It's basically when a kid just stops living. Usually it happens. Excuse me?
When they just stop breathing.
Yeah, they just stop for no reason.
Usually what happens when you die.
Usually it happens with belly sleepers. So these are kids that are sleeping more comfortably on their bellies. Jace, my second oldest, was a belly sleeper. He slept on his belly always. If we laid him on his back, he would cry all night. We laid him on his belly, he was gone. He was out. They have a mat that you can put under him as well that controls his breathing, that controls his movements, like if he's still moving, that like keeps in keeps in touch with you and lets you know like, oh, something's wrong. When like we bought this and he stopped a couple of times, we thought. So you jump out of bed and immediately go down to his room. And usually it was because the mat, like he was off the mat because he not only slept on his belly, but he was like moving around a lot.
Yeah. No,
and he would shove the mat away from his body, and then that would not pick up his breathing. Yeah. So it's not only in hospitals and doctors; it's at home as well.
Yeah. No, my friend's friend, she had her son had problems for some reason, so they had one of those mats, and he stopped breathing a couple of times, and obviously that mattress saved his life. Yeah, because they had to get up and perform CPR. Like I think it was 2 or 3 times on their kid.
Yeah, that's crazy that we just have like just a mat. Like it's not even inside. Like it's not hooked into your body in any way.
It's just you lay on it and that's it.
Yeah, and they just know. All right, I found this funny. Of course, one of the things they say that AI is predicted to do is reduce medical costs. I think the medical costs will stay the same and will just reduce the cost for the hospital or your doctor and therefore make them more money. But,
Yeah.
Also, a really cool thing. I think this is what Elon Musk's company with the brain link is doing. They're called brain-computer interfaces. So, like, if you have trouble moving, maybe you had like a stroke or something, or you can't speak or have spinal cord injuries, they're making AI in a chip that will like intercept the neurons in your brain. And then it will talk for you or do that action for you if you had like, assisted like arms or whatever. So they're basically using AI that can read your brain waves and will then talk for you or make movements to your body for you because your spinal cord's damaged or you can't physically do it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Just super cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, of course, fears of AI replacing humans leading to job losses, as Batman said. But in the end, they seem to think that ultimately like everyone will win out with AI in medicine because it stops doctors getting burnt out and making poor, they work like fucking back-to-back shifts for 2 months and they make a wrong decision because they're tired. Obviously the computer will not do that because it doesn't get tired.
Well, it's not only that. I feel that like AI could be used in such a way where the doctors would benefit. Look, doctors make a lot of money. What if we just don't sell the machines to hospitals? We sell them to the doctors that work in hospitals. Those people make enough money to buy machines and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's an investment you have to make so you can keep charging your people without having to do the work. I think that would absolutely solve a lot of problems. So, yeah.
And now, like, getting towards the end of what I have before I got a couple extra questions to get your opinions on. Oddly enough, even with like this research has been going on since the 60s and 70s, there is currently no government regulations specifically for AI in healthcare. Like, they do not exist anywhere. So obviously that's there's a few bodies. There's some fucking bullshit UN thing that has the World Health Organization has a focus group with a really long name, so I'm not going to say it. That's beginning to build like a way to test and benchmark AI, so at least they have
Maybe you
like
should
how
say it
effective
anyway.
it is. And sorry,
Maybe you should say it anyway. Say the
it
big
is
name.
the ITU WHO Focus Group on AI for Health.
Which stands for?
It's a company called ITU and the World Health Organization.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're at least trying to like standardize and be able to test against each other to see which one's better and so on and so forth. And the FDA is the only agency in the US, which was it the Federal Drug Agency or something? I think they're called. They're the only agency in the US that's expressed any concern whatsoever about having no regulations.
But the FDI, fucking, they're concerned with fucking everything. Like,
Yeah.
ugh,
Did you say the FBI?
the FDA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they're actually concerned that there isn't regulations for once rather than the fact that there is.
Because they want to control everything.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're the only one that's ever spoken out like, hey, we're using all this stuff now or starting to, but like we
It's
don't have any
important.
laws about how it should be done. And like, who's at fault if it fucks up?
Yeah, true.
Like the AI is just like, nah, fuck, kill all these people. Like they're done.
I think there should be I think there should be oopsie doopsie reports, maybe.
Yeah.
Doopsie reports. Another AI went crazy with a scalpel.
The Skynet is
Just one robot arm holding a scalpel that just went like like all over a body. The guy's cut up
bugged out.
Just running rampant on the floor, just like stabbing everyone in his way.
Nurse Cecilia, get me an oopsie doopsie report. Let's bid another one.
He was fighting for his freedom, okay? He wanted to express it. He didn't want to be a doctor anymore. So that's kind of it on what I have. But now I have
wait. Hold on. What do you think is the greatest? Like what? Because you're a pretty savvy guy when it comes to electronics, and I love to hear you talk about all this shit. But what is your perspective on which one we need the most as a human race? Well, like which one appeals to you most?
In what sense?
In the sense of the one that we need. Like as far as it comes to AI, from the research you did, and I know like it's not everything. You didn't look at everything and shit like that. But I'm just curious, as from the ones that you saw, which one would you think mankind would benefit the most from?
I would say like in the food production industry would be the best because we waste so much fucking food. So like if we had better control over like how much food's getting wasted, we wouldn't waste as much, so the planet would benefit, and like we have enough food to go around, right?
And even just production in general, like the mass production of food into supermarkets, and that just turns into food that gets tossed out because it goes bad.
Yeah, but like when people say that the world doesn't have enough food, it's actually wrong. We have more than we need, but the problem is it's all in like the wealthy countries. And then, African shit has no food.
That's what I've always felt. Is like, why aren't we having gigantic freezers in Boeing 747s and then just shipping that off to Africa? Whatever, like, is just like, at the date it's gonna go bad and it hasn't been sold, just shove it all up on a plane, government, like, funded or something, and ship it off to a country that needs it so they can have food.
I think the worst part is, like, how... Like, because I used to work in a supermarket, right? And like where the city I came from, we had like apple orchards everywhere in the hills around it. But like any apples that basically, you know how on TV you always see the perfect red apple, no blemishes? If they're not like that, the supermarkets won't buy them. So they like
It's
ton
just
after
fucking
ton,
dumb.
the farmers have to destroy. Like, that's like, why? Just fucking... Like,
Yeah,
give
ship
it
them
away
off
if you
somewhere.
have to.
You can give it to the people. You can make like apple mousse, and that's healthy stuff.
Oh, and not only that, you have so many. Did you have a dumpster at the back of your shop?
Oh, yeah.
Did they lock it off?
Yeah, we had to start putting
I fucking hate the
poison
fact
stuff
that they
so you couldn't eat it.
Yeah, I hate that they do that because the food that we throw out is actually not already bad that day.
Nope.
Yeah, don't wait 2 weeks to eat it, of course.
Yeah.
But there might be a homeless guy across the street that can't afford to buy food. Why aren't we like letting these dumpsters open out? Because we'll fucking lose money. Yeah, you'll lose a little bit of money.
We spoke about this yesterday, Ali and I, in the car. And the reason we had to, because in Australia, the government's fucking dumb, is going down the American way of you can sue anybody, right?
Yeah.
So if someone was to eat from the trash out the back from the dumpster and got sick or whatever, they can sue the supermarket. And that's why they don't do it. Because the government's fucking retarded. And it's just like, well, you literally are stealing from them, but it was still their product, so they're at fault somehow. And that's why the supermarket, at least in Australia, that's why they don't do that, because they can be sued. And obviously for them, it's not worth it.
When you put it in a dumpster, if you leave it inside, then yeah, it's still your product. But the moment you put it outside and it's in a dumpster, I think it's city owned, to be honest.
No,
apparently not. So many morally fucked up shit.
But anyway,
when it
I'll
comes
say
to this.
food. I think the food would be like the best for humanity. Like fuck health.
All right.
Because I think if you had better food distribution, health would improve anyway. So there's that.
Yeah.
But all right. So I have a scenario question for two of you.
Okay.
So like a loved one, whatever. Let's say Ali, if I am in hospital in critical condition, or like Ali,
pull the plug.
Andy, you know, if Vicky's in hospital, would you prefer the human or the AI to assess them, and why?
Excuse me, sorry, I was still thinking about my joke.
Okay.
I thought you said a loved one when you said, "Oh, Ali, when I'm in the hospital."
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not loved, motherfucker.
Fine. If her sister is in the hospital
all right,
in a critical condition, right? Do you want the AI or the doctor to assess them, and why?
Oof.
Like human versus machine.
But in current...
Yeah, like right now, if they were sick, who would you want, or what would you want to look at them?
We're talking about surgery?
They're just in a critical condition, like they need to be assessed to work out what to do, let's say.
Oh, then either. Whoever's fastest.
All right. Ali?
That is the point I'm taking, and that is my reasoning.
Yep.
But whoever gets it done fastest.
Makes sense. Ali? You like having a stroke, or?
It's just a hard question.
I know, that's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's your sister.
Yeah, probably whatever will give her... Yeah, whatever's fastest in the sense.
Yeah.
It's interesting you said that, because I assume one of you would have said that you would prefer the human just because in a stressful situation you'd probably want to talk to someone. But none of you said
I
that.
would want to have, but in a hospital you just don't have a doctor standing there welcome you in and helping you.
That was not in this scenario, Batman.
But you didn't say that.
Here's the thing. Whether it be a doctor or a computer, I would, as the nearest one to Vicky, I would assume that the data from the computer, if that is faster from the doctor, that it is in my best interest to know faster what happened.
Yeah.
So either it is a doctor or a computer, I would get the information. One would just take longer. Well, in that case, give me the one that I get the information from faster so I can act on what's happening.
Yep. Fair. Okay. Cool. All right. Who is to blame if the AI gets it wrong? Like, let's say life and death situation, the AI says it's 90% sure that this is what it is.
Yeah, it's just the first guy in the room. The one that brings the news that the AI was wrong is probably...
Shoot the poor nurse that has to walk in they're dead.
Always shoot the messenger.
Yep.
And then everybody that knows the messenger. And then her family, her dog, and then her cat as well.
All right. But would you ever consider, say, suing the company? Or just be like, shit happens, fuck it, like...
I would more see it as a point of whoever bought the service of this AI, like in the hospital... Because obviously at some point they didn't do maintenance on this.
But would you ever accept that nothing will ever be 100% accurate and maybe,
of course,
shit happens?
we live in a fucking world where fucking people die every fucking day and shit happens and you get misdiagnosed and stuff like that.
Yeah, but so would you...
Ali brought up, and this is from a factory worker point of view, right? I know that when a machine fucks up at our factory, it's due to a couple of things. Bad maintenance... something went bad, or someone fucked up.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is pretty much the only thing that can make a machine go crackety boom, right?
Yep.
Is those three things.
So usually human error, right?
Yeah.
On some level.
Yeah.
Yep.
On some level it is.
Goes back to the human. So if somebody didn't do their maintenance, I would look up the maintenance logs. Then in which case I would sue the hospital. If it's because of a faulty technique thing, something went fuck up in the program or whatever, I wouldn't sue anybody because programming is very fucking difficult and like shit just fucking happens. Sometimes
it's still up to the hospital to keep on touch with what's going on with their...
Yeah, but you cannot predict every possible scenario.
No.
It is humanly impossible to program a computer exactly to where it's prepared for any scenario. Because there's always going to be extra.
Then you would need to know every possible scenario. And in which case you probably wouldn't need the computer to begin with.
So if it was that, if it was programming and shit like that, I would understand and I would be like, okay, well, get it in now so this never happens to anybody else again.
Yep.
This would be my only claim. And then the third one, if it was a human fuck up or something like that, again, I wouldn't sue the hospital. So, in short, I would only blame the actual device for one thing, and that's bad programming, which also is human, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Ali?
But never the AI. The AI would never be the problem.
No.
That is basically what I said to begin with. That Andy just explained it.
Ones and zeros, I guess, really. All right, so last question. So there is a thing in most countries, or all countries maybe, even, I can't remember the exact naming, but it's like your doctor or your physician can issue a no treatment or like no save order, basically. Which is basically where it is better off that you die as a patient in the condition that you're in. And so they give the green light to be like, you know what, like don't resuscitate, don't turn off the life support, whatever, right? Like, you can turn it off.
Oh, what is it called?
I can't remember. I did look at it.
DNR?
DNR.
Yep, that's the one. Would you accept an AI being the one that decides if someone is, like, beyond saving or so unlikely to live that the AI just goes, like, no. Like, their odds are so low, like 2% survival rate, don't bother.
No.
Would you accept that?
Mm-mm. No. Like, they can give their opinion. That doesn't mean as a person that I would take the decision for a loved one. Like that, at the end of the day, that is my decision.
Even if it was the most sensible decision, like their fucking
like
guts
I would
are
do it
in
the sense like if you were in a car accident, you're fucked. We as a couple have already talked. I would not resuscitate you. If you were brain scrambled and literally a vegetable, I would pull the plug. But that is an agreement that you and I as people have made. Then if the doctors, the AI tells me there is no way, it's still my decision at the end of the day as a loved one.
All right, so you would never just leave it up and say it knows best?
No, like in this, like they can give their like diagnosis, their data, their fucking information, their opinion.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's my decision as a loved one.
Andy?
Yeah, pretty much that sums it up.
All right.
Got nothing more to add to that. Like, I'd be the same way. I'd love to hear the explanation behind it, like why they would think she would only have a 2% survival rating or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, at the end of the day, first of all, if she's conscious and was able to make decisions with me still, I'd ask her opinion. What do you want me to do at first place? If I had to make this decision for somebody, I wouldn't have to find the grounded rule that makes me go like, yeah, okay.
Yep.
Do not resuscitate. Don't do it.
That's it. Do not resuscitate. DNR. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's understandable. I think in most cases, most people would want at least a human to tell them that.
Yeah.
Like a doctor.
Yeah. They can give the data, just not the decision.
Yeah. And that seems like that's probably the most likely way, at least at first, how it will be. The AI will kind of guide the doctor, and then the doctor has the fun. At the end of the day, is like, nah.
I think as a human race, we are vain enough that we would never allow a machine to make the decisions for us.
Yeah, that's true.
Aid us in what we do and like be an asset to our lives. Yeah, but I don't think we'll ever get to the point unless the machine itself decides it wants to be there.
Yep.
Like your toaster wants to choke you out for a couple of minutes or something.
Yep. Stop putting your dick in me, motherfucker.
I don't think we'll ever get to that point. I think we as a human race are way too vain to allow that to happen.
Yeah, fair. All right. Well, I mean, that's cool. That's basically all I had. Just a quick little thing. Gets your views on, I think, especially medicine. That's why I chose to focus, because it's something that's much more touchy and personal. Because it is something that literally can decide whether you live or die, or have an implication on your livelihood.
And also, in Ali's case, it's on a week-to-week basis.
It's true. And actually, the reason I told her I want to die if I'm ever in a serious accident is because, like, she can't look after herself without having an accident. Imagine if she's wheeling me along in a fucking wheelchair and I literally cannot move or do anything. I'm done. Like, I'm going to get hit by a train or something. Just roll off the platform.
The thing is, and I think you got the same sort of wife for that as well. Like, she would be bothered doing it, but she'd do it. Like, if you were in a situation where she had to wipe your ass, let's say, for the rest of your life, she'd probably do it with a lot of grunting and groaning, but she would do it.
I should do it. Should do a good job, probably, too. Make sure you buy 4-ply toilet paper, too. My butthole is precious.
I'll just get the fucking garden hose.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like, I'd probably decide on the same thing, because I would not want my wife to do that for me for the rest of my life.
Plus,
even knowing she would be willing to do that, I wouldn't want it.
Yeah, I also draw the line at there's a point where just because you're alive doesn't mean that you're living. Like, if you can't do anything, then why the fuck are you here?
The thing is, I saw this not a documentary, but like this news article a while ago from this old lady, since the Centra where old people stay. I don't know the name.
Old folks home, whatever.
Yeah, old folks home, yeah. And this one lady, they came into the room with 2 people, and they were like, all right, Odette, we're here to do your daily exercise. And they picked her up. This woman took 2 steps and had to sit back down. And I was wondering, at that point, wouldn't you just jab a fucking fork in your eye to get rid of, like, whatever life is left inside of you?
Yep.
Imagine that being your life. Just taking 2 steps every day. With the help of 2 people, by the way. It's not like she could do it by herself.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
My grandma's like that now. She's like 90 or 89, and it's like...
Does she ever talk about it?
She only speaks Greek now. It's my mother's, and I don't speak Greek. And, like, she's forgotten English now because she's so old. So it's very hard.
Yeah.
She's also very dementia.
And she has dementia. And it's like, you were not the person I remember when I was like 5 years old. Like, you're just like a husk of a human, basic. Like, you're alive, but like, you're not really alive. You just sit in an old folks home all day doing nothing, miserable as fuck. Like, why don't you just give up? Like, honestly. Like, seriously, like, he would be better.
I think
you want me to tell you the truth? She probably forgot.
Yeah, she forgot she had to give up.
Exactly. This is exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
And on that rather lovely note, Ali, give us the Instagram that you fuck up at least once every time.
Yeah, but we also need to remember that if you want to join our Discord, you can come and join us every episode. See us live, see us on camera, talk to us. We have a bunch of channels. And the link to that is in the description down below. And also our Instagram is @random.podcast. So at.random.podcast.
Look at that. One go.
Damn. She's on point today.
Yeah,
talking about her sister dying made her fired up and switched on. Maybe we should do that every episode if we get her going. And on Twitter, we're at @AT_randompod. So... we usually put out a tweet as well every time new episode comes out. So if you want to know, like, on the dot when it comes out, which, by the way, is Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern US every time.
Yeah.
But whatever. If you want to know, you'll get a little pop-up if you want to be, like, one of the first on there. Yeah. Hit us up, interact with us, give us suggestions.
Yeah, just type in first.
Yeah.
If you're the first one to comment on that, and then the second one should type in gay.
Yeah. Or if
that's usually how the internet works.
Or if you think you're the first to listen to it, turn to someone that's next to you and just yell first at them. without any context whatsoever.
Yeah,
just have your
no.
headphones on and just like yell at them.
Yeah. And if you hear that person yell out first, then you should reply with gay very loudly.
Yep. Obviously. It's the mature thing to do, people.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah. It's next week, we're back to the D&D story. So I chose to do something a bit more serious on this one because I figured the D&D, I mean, I'm covered in semen for most of it and abusing people.
No,
so it's
I
not
think
very
the
I think
mature.
you were
Next episode
fine
is
as
my
far as
episode?
semen goes.
No, but next one we're going to do the D&D. And then the next actual episode that changes after the D&D is Ali's.
Yeah.
But next episode that releases after this will be part 4 of the D&D adventure. If you haven't listened to the first 3 parts, go and do it.
Is it 4 or is it 3 parts?
We've done 3 already.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, check it out, spread the word, and thank you for listening. Andy will be back in the next episode with the intro again, just for Ali's sake.
A different intro.
Different intro. Mildly changed, I hope. Only mild changes. And, yeah, I'm Alex, that's Andy.
Ali.
Yep.
And Ali. And,
Thank you for forgetting me, husband.
I was expecting you to say something, but...
Okay. So you can only speak for Andy, but not for me. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, bye.
Wow. Somebody's not getting blown tonight. All right.
That's what I'm going to hear when the AI says it's time for me to go. All right, bye.
Bye.